So Patrick, what was the primary purpose in creating the Foundation House International Travel Program?
Well, the primary purpose is to use this annual signature event of ours as a means to clearly exceed our collective expectations and our perceived limitations of what a life of recovery looks like after treatment.
Is there more to it than that?
There's definitely more to it than that. In order for us to not repeat the trappings of history, our own perhaps, we must first come to an understanding of that history itself. By traveling abroad, we are able to discover the historical origins of what makes up a life of brotherhood, adventure, spirituality, and recovery.
So the first year was Europe. Why Europe?
Well, we started our international program in Europe because for many of us, that is where the origins of our families began. And we chose to follow the path of World War II's Easy Company, otherwise known as the Band of Brothers, because for Americans, there was perhaps no greater group of young men in the history of our young nation who better exemplify what it means to work together, overcome fear, and succeed in the face of insurmountable odds. With dog tags around our necks, we stormed the beach in Normandy as the symbolic first step of our inaugural international adventure. We crossed through Europe, making sure to attend 12-step meetings in Paris and Berlin, and over the course of 14 days, we made sure to take in the sights and sounds of the vast European culture that was nearly laid to waste as a result of such a horrific conflict. The grand prize was a day atop the Eagle's Nest, where Easy Company themselves had finally realized their collective victory.
So the theme the first year was brotherhood, and the trip to Europe helped define the foxhole. The second year was Africa. What was the purpose in going to Africa?
In Africa, our focus was to highlight another essential aspect of the Foundation House program and of recovery itself. The theme in 2014 was origins and adventure. Coffee, the well-known symbolic unifying force of a 12-step meeting. We spent the first part of this trip on a coffee farm in Tanzania, harvesting our very own beans from plant to cup. And shortly thereafter, we climbed another summit, climbing as one cohesive group to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, the world's tallest freestanding mountain. This specific adventure taught us all, without reservation, what the basis of recovery is truly all about, that we can do together what we are simply not capable of doing alone. The safari. Well, let's face it, at the end of the trip, the safari was just pretty damn cool.
So the foxhole conquered Europe. It climbed Kilimanjaro. What's next for the international travel program?
Well, they say the third time's a charm, and in this case, not just figuratively, but literally, it comes in the form of a bindi. So after brotherhood and wilderness adventure, it seemed like the next logical step was to explore the path of spirituality. In 2015, the adventure continues. Our journey is a spiritual quest, following the path of the Buddha from birth to enlightenment under the Bodhi tree to his final resting place in the northeast section of India. We will be taking time throughout this trip to broaden our own spiritual exploration by studying and practicing yoga, meditation, and mindfulness. Along the way, as always, will be a signature Foundation House adventure. This time, a surprise event in the famed Himalayas. In the coming years, our international team has already set its sights on some pretty far-reaching destinations. Shortly after we return from India, we will target a location where few have gone before.